My question is a Terminator or Transformer type of society coming? And I want to quote this, read this quote to you guys. And I want to know, should I be concerned about things like this that might be coming? Globalist Klaus Schwab made it clear that transhumanism is an integral part of, quote, the Great Reset, when he said that the fourth industrial revolution would lead to a fusion of our physical, digital, and biological identity, which in a book he said is implantable microchips in our head that can read our thoughts. So I don't know how serious to take this, but Chris, let me start with you. Is this something serious? Is this something that's coming down the road? What's your reaction to a report like this?
Hey, Klaus, you first. So Klaus is
right.
Klaus is, for people who don't know, he founded the World Economic Forum, aka the Davos meeting that happens every year. You know, those beloved billionaires who fly their jets into that little town in Switzerland, and they're so beloved that they have to ring the whole town with snipers beforehand and stuff like that, just to make sure that the people's love doesn't spill over too far, I guess. So yeah, they have plans. They're using this whole COVID-19 thing to talk about a Great Reset, which has been in the works for a long time. And the Great Reset, there's parts of it I actually understand to an extent where they say, hey, there really aren't enough resources for the whole world to continue on the path it's been on. And then once you strip away the happy talk, there's another layer under that, which basically sounds, you could not be faulted for interpreting it this way, which is to say, we'd rather have those resources for our jets, you know, than for your little cars, I think is part of that story. But however that gets parsed out, they're correct in assessing that the world is on an unsustainable course. I'm a little disappointed that a main thrust of that is to say, and the solution to that is implantable chips so that we can merge your biological, digital, and physical selves. I didn't quite follow that jump. And so I'm not a huge fan of that angle of it, but I do think it's time to start having a conversation that says we can't keep on the path we're on. Our monetary path is obviously self-destructive. We need a debt reset. I think there's room to argue for an ecological reset. The conversation needs to be had. I think Klaus is off mark when he says it's time for implantable chips. I didn't follow that jump, but I am open to having a different conversation which says, where are we going? This looks unsustainable. And of course, that's my work in the world. I tell people we are. And so you should personally prepare for that. And I know you want to get to that later, so we can segue later. But that's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, it's a great reset. It's coming, a monetary one, but jumping to implantable microchips. Mike, what do you think?
I think these people are dangerous. I think that, it's really interesting that they think that they have this privileged place in society and that they get to determine what happens with the world. And then people are willing to go along with it. I've never been, I always used to say, and Dan was actually the one that came up with this, I don't deal in conspiracy theory, I deal in conspiracy fact. And so I've steered away from these things for a long, long time, because I didn't have proof. But now they're coming out every day and saying this stuff, and all of these conspiracy theorists were right. They were the ones we should have been listening to.
Right.
I thought they were nuts, but they're not. There's people that are really trying to take over the world, control everybody's lives, limit the population. What are they going to do with these microchips? They get to control you, is what they want to do. And I'm sure that one of their goals would be to reduce the size of the planet's population. And I'm sure that they're not on the list for reduction. They see themselves as, just like Chris said, they want it all for their jet fuel. I think it's crazy, but the reset that they are talking about, you're going to play the game whether you want to or not. You're either going to be a victim or a beneficiary. There are only two sides to this. It's a binary outcome. And so if you want to be a beneficiary, you have to put yourself on a proper side of this. And, there's areas of our lives where we're all going to be victims, because I just don't think the future is as bright as it used to be. But if you've got some resilience and sustainability in your life, and go to Chris's channel, Peak Prosperity, for all of that. You're going to find out a lot if you go over to that channel about how to prepare for what's coming up right now. But then when it comes to financial, this could be the best thing that ever happened to you in this. I've been writing about this. I was expecting in the crisis of '08 for this to play out, and then we'd come out with a healthy recovery, but they didn't let the markets and everything clear to the point where we could start a brand new bull market in stocks and things, and where currencies could be stable, and where they could run this without all of these enormous deficits that are so self-destructive. They didn't let it, Greenspan didn't let it happen, then Bernanke didn't let it happen, then Yellen, and now we've got Powell. They keep on slapping Band-Aids on this bubble, this balloon that's about to burst. Well, they keep on blowing air at it at a greater and greater pace. And a hole springs up and they slap another Band-Aid on, expecting a good outcome. It can't have a good outcome unless you're invested in precious metals, possibly cryptocurrencies, I think most likely cryptocurrencies. And then you should also have a plan for being as resilient as possible personally, and having access to food. We're getting to a point where they're talking about food shortages, supply chain disruptions with this next lockdown, and people are getting scared of that. I'm purchasing a small farm and getting ready for this. I've got my own solar power. The internet down here is not all that reliable in Puerto Rico, so I'm expecting the potential for problems there. But I've got my own clean water sources, power sources, and place to grow food. That's the path I'm headed down, with a lot of precious metals. That's my main investment. So,
yeah, very